What is going on with Gala right now? Why are we seeing the Bitcoin price pumping absolutely massively, but Gala not really doing much at all? Many people expecting that Gala is going to blow up this year, and they're probably right, but we're seeing something very interesting happen right now from this small cap altcoin compared with the monster that is Bitcoin. So guys, let's dive in. Before we do me a favor, hit that like button, hit subscribe, let's get on with this video. So guys, you know I love Gala. I made videos about Gala recently, talking about the enormous market cap of online gaming and the move towards blockchain gaming, where we're going to see $67.4 billion market cap in 2026, of which I think that Gala is going to hold a big portion of that, which is potentially going to show us 100x in Gala. What I want to discuss is what's actually happening right now on the charts. If we jump across to Bitcoin, we can maybe understand a bit more of what really is going on. Now, what we're seeing is early bull market behavior from Bitcoin and basically altcoins, of which Gala is an altcoin, okay? And what we typically see in the earlier stages is Bitcoin leading the charge. Now, typically what we've seen in the kind of bear market is when Bitcoin will pump maybe, let's say 5%, you'll see Gala pumping like 10%, 15% or more. So you probably got used to seeing Bitcoin pumping and just thinking that the altcoin's going to pump straight away, which is what they've been doing for the last 6 months or a year or so. But right now we look into Bitcoin, something really interesting has happened. Now, what we basically had the other day was this kind of double top. And many people have been telling us that it's going to push lower, we're going to see 16k, and it's going to fill all the way down there. It was pretty obvious that Bitcoin was going to be faking everyone out to the downside and then pushing higher. Now, where this turnaround was going to come was fairly difficult to see, but as you can see from the 200-day moving average, you almost can't ride it, right? Absolutely perfect. Beautiful to see. And from just a few days ago, we've seen Bitcoin move 22%. Now, what we have a bit careful of right now is we have a shoulder, another shoulder, and potentially a head, which could see Bitcoin maybe rolling over and then pushing lower. But I want you to understand what basically caused this push. This is institutional money, okay? This is huge moves in the market. This is a lot of money. You, me, and everyone else who's kind of buying a little bit of crypto here and there don't really have the power to do this, unfortunately. Maybe one day, but not right now. And what are the institutions buying right now? They're buying the likes of Bitcoin, maybe a little bit of Ethereum, really probably not much else. So what does that mean for us? Well, it means that Gala will behave in a bit of a different way from how Bitcoin behaves right now. And what you've seen was this, which may have been sort of a larger scale investor coming in here, but then everyone jumps on the bandwagon. And then we have the ability to drive a market cap like Gala up. It doesn't take as much money to drive Gala up as it does something like Bitcoin, because Gala currently has a market cap of around $220 million. Bitcoin's more towards the $500 billion. There's a significantly large difference in that amount of money. Now, I've just realized we could actually look at this picture because I think it's very useful to kind of understand these numbers, because many people don't really comprehend the differences in the numbers that we're talking about here. And it's very difficult to understand. This is also to point out when you hear people talking about, and this coin has a market cap of $10 million and it's going to go to $10 billion. This is what it really looks like. Okay, so here you have $1 million, which is like a stack you might be able to put on the table in front of you. And then on the bottom left, $1 billion. Look at the stacks and stacks compared to the $1 million, which is just down in front of this character here. This is $1 million. This is what $1 billion looks like. On the bottom right hand side, next to the aeroplane, we have the market cap of Bitcoin at the top of the bull market last year at $1 trillion, and a jumbo jet next to it, showing just how excessively big $1 trillion is. Now we got that visualized, it's obviously much easier to put in $1 million or something than $1 billion or something. And $1 billion is significantly bigger than $1 million. I hope that will make sense, which is why a smaller market cap can pump like this. But right now, what we're seeing happen to Bitcoin in the last couple of days is institutional cash flowing in, but the retail traders, like you and me, not really paying attention still. And that's why Gala in the last couple of days has also seen a 22% push, where you would expect it to see a much bigger push towards the upside. But when you get the fear coming in around Bitcoin and various other cryptos, it will punish these much harder, because the retail investors that are invested in small cap altcoins do tend to be less experienced, perhaps, than the larger scale money that's invested in Bitcoins, Ethereum of this world. Don't take that personally. If you're invested in small cap altcoins, that's fine. I am as well. We just don't have the billions of dollars to make good money out of investing in Bitcoin and stocks and shares and things. That's why we go to these sort of smaller cap altcoins, because we are basically degens. But this is great news, okay? Because what actually has happened is we've seen Bitcoin have a mad push, We'll then start to get all the news coming out about Bitcoin pushing and having great days, and it's going to hit CNN, it's going to hit BBC, it's going to do whatever, and then all the people will start to flood back into the market. All of the guys who have been burying their heads in the sand, like I talked about on this video just a couple of days ago. And that's a very important video if you want to understand a bit about market psychology. I'll link it towards the end of this one, so go and check it out. But right now, we have this. What we can also see, and we see this over and over again, and I talk about this in my premium Telegram group, which is linked down below in the description, along with the free version of the group. So get into the free version and then discuss whether or not you want to get in the premium. But what we have is, we follow a downtrend, right? We follow it and bounce, bounce, bounce. Eventually, there will come a point where it looks like we're going to break up through it like this and push hard away from it like this. That, to me, usually is an indicator that we're eventually going to come back into it. Because if you look at when we move heavily down in markets, we do tend to sort of spike up and then push down. We spiked up here, but we didn't push down like this. We kind of gradually crawled, which tells me that at some point we're going to have to push through. How I know it's going to push through, push away from it, come back. And right now, Gala is looking very like it's about to push through there. It's also trying to battle through its 200 moving average right this second. But a break beyond here in a very short space of time is going to send Gala up around 65%. And potentially, we're then going to get back on our way. I do think that 65% obviously is not where we're going to stop for Gala. We have to look at where the next lines in the sand are for Gala. It's very, very easy to do, guys. Really, crypto is not very difficult, okay? The only difficult thing is not being emotional when it pulls away from us or does something that we're not really necessarily expecting. But what we've got is this area here. Clearly, this was a significant line of resistance before at around 7 cents. The next one up here sat at 8.9 cents. So up to this 7 cent level, you're looking at a 90% push. Up to the next one, 136% push. Is it going to get there? Absolutely, guys. In my opinion, obviously, because it wouldn't be moral for me to give you financial advice or allowed on YouTube, absolutely it's going to get there. Whether it gets there in the next few weeks or not, we're not necessarily so sure. But I actually have a bit of a feeling about what's going to happen in crypto that is going to be the absolute catalyst that's going to blow this thing wide open. We're already moving towards a period now where we're about to see things getting very bullish. This last bullish push in the last few days tells me that the bottom of the market's in my opinion. So I think Gala is going to see some explosive moves in the fairly short to medium term. It's all going to happen because of what's happening in Bitcoin. I want you to consider what has basically been happening to Bitcoin. But to understand this a bit better, Bitcoin has been doing this since November of last year, since November 2021, so just over a year ago, because the Federal Reserve has been pumping interest rates up because they're trying to reduce inflation. And now you're starting to see banks going under, with the Silicon Valley Bank going under, and also, I'm sure, a few more banks going under. This is going to put pressure on the Fed to start cutting interest rates, because all the time we've been seeing interest rates going up because of inflation. But what we're going to see now is potentially the next announcement where the interest rates come down. And if their hike in interest rates starts to decrease away from expectation, that's the catalyst for our bull market. That's what makes a move like this. And we could see like 40k Bitcoin coming around the corner in just a week or two. And if this actually happens, you'll see Bitcoin hitting 40k in like a couple of weeks. It's in my opinion. Obviously go and do your own research. Don't just jump in and say, oh, this guy told me to do it. I didn't tell you to do anything. It's just what I'm looking at. If Bitcoin does this, you can see cryptos like Gala that got absolutely destroyed to the downside starting to come back. And they won't come back necessarily as fast as they go up. I don't think you can see Gala growing quite as quickly as it did before. I think it's going to get to a bigger market cap than it had before. However, I don't think it's going to do it in quite such a dramatic fashion. Mainly because there's another number of big players in the game right now, like Hello Labs. Whether or not you think one's superior than the other doesn't really matter, guys. It's not necessarily down to your own opinion. It's down to what the market thinks. And there's lots of new companies coming into the space. Therefore, Gala will lose a bit out in competition. However, Gala is the OG and the market itself is going to grow bigger. The market is growing bigger, which does take a bit more time, which will ultimately inflate the price of Gala way beyond. But in the short amount of time, I do think the market cap from Gala in terms of the explosive moves towards the upside will be stolen a bit by other cryptos. There's loads of different cryptos out there right now, but we are still extremely, extremely early. If you want to know more about what I'm buying right now, I actually have 2 Telegram groups. It's various crypto investors, enthusiastic guys talking each day about what they're seeing in the crypto markets, coins they're buying, asking each other questions, all great to see. And then we've got a premium group where I share my daily analysis, what I'm buying, the price I'm buying at, how I'm identifying where I'm buying at. And that starts at just $9.99 per month. And then from that, you'll get into a selective group of people who are extremely serious about making money in these crypto markets. There's a 5-day free trial on that, guys. So just go through the free link in the description, ask about the premium group, and I will share information about that there. As well as that, I recommend heading over to FairDesk, which is linked down below in the description, where you can go and copy traders' trades. I myself am trading on FairDesk every day, and you can copy my trades in order to profit when I profit. Obviously not without its risk, so don't invest money that you can't afford to lose. But basically, you'll automatically be triggered to take a trade when I take a trade, which will allow you to make profits from it. This is my second account, which is the Bull Trader for a Korean audience, and this is my first account here, which is the House of Crypto. And you can see there are slots available to follow in both. On this account here, I've made $34,000 in just the last 7 days. And on this one, I've made $12,900 in just the last 7 days as well, obviously benefiting from that huge pump that we've seen in Bitcoin. And if you want to benefit from that huge pump we've seen in Bitcoin as well, go to that FairDesk link down below in the description and hit me up with a follow over there. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, hit that like button for me. If you're new to the channel, then hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the very next video. Bye-bye.